Joining me now is our friend, California Congressman Ted Lieu, Vice Chair of the House Democratic Caucus and member of the Judiciary and Foreign Affairs Committees. Welcome, sir. So Vice President J.D. Vance and other top administration officials said Renee Good's killing was justified, calling her a deranged leftist and saying her death was of her own making. This despite several videos showing her car tires and direction were turned away from the ICE agent as shots were fired. How dangerous is it for the administration to make these claims before an investigation is complete? I mean, does this undermine due process?
Thank you, Alex, for your question. Let me first say my heart goes out to the family and friends of Renee Good. She was a U.S. citizen, a mother of three, and this was a completely preventable tragedy. The problem when the administration lies, when J.D. Vance makes comments that are completely contradicted by the evidence, and when Trump lies, is it actually increases risks to federal officers because the American people get agitated and even more angry if they believe that the Trump administration will never, ever hold anyone to account ever. And if you have that view as administration that you're simply going to prejudge every case and not holding anyone accountable, then American people are going to start getting even more agitated. So to protect federal officers, I asked J.D. Vance to just stop lying and Donald Trump to stop lying, let the investigations take place, and cooperate with state and local officials in their investigations. I mean, what is the federal government trying to hide by refusing to cooperate with these investigations?
Well, exactly, because the federal authorities have blocked Minnesota investigators from accessing any evidence and claimed that the state has no jurisdiction to investigate Good's killing. Is this an attempt to shield federal officers from accountability? Does Congress have a responsibility to now step in and demand independent oversight and examine whether ICE's use of force standard is leading to people being killed?
By not cooperating with state and local officials, it sure looks like the federal government is trying to cover up what happened. And thank goodness they can't do that, because there are multiple videos. And the reason there are multiple videos of this incident is because the American people have the absolute First Amendment right to witness, to photograph, and to film ICE agents and other DHS operations in public. That is a First Amendment right. And because of that right, we have all these videos. And so state and local officials will continue to conduct their investigations. And I simply ask the federal government to stop making it look like they're covering something up, unless in fact they are covering something up.
Can Congress do anything to step in, though, and say, hey, if you're going to spend all this money hiring more ICE federal officers, you have to train them appropriately?
That is a great point you make. First of all, why would none of these ICE agents administering CPR to Renee Good? They just let her die. That is unconscionable, shameful. Every ICE officer there who did not go and try to help Renee Good after she was shot, they should resign or they should be fired.
Now, and let me add to that, sir, not to interrupt, but there was a physician who appeared on the scene and identified himself as a doctor, and they wouldn't let him get anywhere near her. He said, let me go see if I can help her. No. Anyway,
the investigation should also look at why ICE blocked someone who was a doctor from trying to help Renee Good. I also want to note that there's a Department of Homeland Security appropriations bill that will be voted on later this month. I am a hard no on that bill, unless significant reforms are made to make sure ICE does not engage in these kinds of actions where they don't help someone who's been shot, where they're wearing masks, and where they're approaching people without warrants. There's got to be a lot of reforms before I would even consider voting for that appropriations bill to continue what ICE has been doing, which is a very horrible job and having people die in their watch.
So there are some House Democrats who plan to bring articles of impeachment against DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, accusing her of obstruction of justice and self-dealing as well. And you're among some Democrats, though, who do not currently support her impeachment. Explain why.
Kristi Noem absolutely should resign. Many people have died under her watch, and she continues to lie to the American people. Now, as a former prosecutor, I view articles of impeachment as an indictment, and normally you wouldn't indict someone without having at least done some investigation. So I would absolutely support investigations that could lead to impeachment. I just don't think we should do this the other way around and do impeachment without having done some investigation first.
So you mentioned at the top that Americans are going to be agitated by all of this. And in part, it's syncing up with Governor Tim Walz, who said it is going to be difficult for Minnesotans to accept the fairness of an investigation after DOJ blocked the state from reviewing evidence. With the administration already declaring the shooting justified and controlling the investigation, how can the public have any confidence in accountability?
It's very difficult for the public to believe that the Trump administration will hold a fair and transparent investigation if they don't cooperate with the state and local officials. And that's why you're seeing a lot of Americans rise up and protest. And as your show showed today, there are many people who are leaving their homes and protesting and showing their agitation and their anger at ICE and at DHS. And again, if you want to reduce the risk to ICE agents and reduce the risk to federal officials, you have to have the American people believe that the Trump administration would actually have a fair investigation, comply with the law, and look at the facts as they are. And if the administration doesn't do that, and they just sort of keep on lying, that increases risks to ICE agents.
Last night, sir, a federal judge temporarily blocked the Trump administration from freezing roughly $10 billion in funding for child care and social services for California, your state, and for other Democrat-led states. The decision came less than a day after the states sued the administration, and the states deny accusations of widespread fraud and waste in their welfare agencies. Is this an abuse of executive power meant to punish political opponents? What will this mean for low-income families who lose essential child care services if the court ultimately sides with Trump?
This is absolutely a totally retributive and partisan ploy by the President of the United States. They're simply targeting a handful of blue states and randomly alleging fraud. And I'm so glad the judge saw through that. And within 24 hours, the judge put a temporary restraining order saying that the Trump administration cannot do that. You can't just randomly make up allegations and cut off funding. If the administration wants to cut off funding, they have to come to Congress, because it's Congress who appropriates these funds, and the administration simply has to execute the law and provide the funds that Congress has appropriated.
California Congressman Ted Lieu, thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate your time.